100 screens of participants are here this evening. Well, this is the second year in a row that we are not doing the gala. We are doing the gala virtually. I guess you all figured that out. But the truth is we are not quite ready yet to do a large social gathering together. But I do hope that many of you had the opportunity earlier today to see their honorees in person at the temple when picking up the Pashnash plates. I'm sure that most of you have or will read the many wonderful ads in the ad journal for our two families of well-deserved honorees, Ehrlich, Rachel Modiano, Jonathan Ehrlich, and Lila Frost, Hillary, and Carey Glass. That ad journal demonstrates that our honorees have so many friends and admirers in addition to having a wonderful family. Beautiful tributes directed to our honorees flow from every page of the ad journal. All of it is so true and more. On behalf of the Temple lay leadership, we want to express our deep gratitude to the honorees for their many, many contributions to the temple spanning decades, as well as their contributions to the broader Jewish community, and for them being simply model congregants. But you will hear more about the honorees during the program. Some important thank yous are in order before we proceed. First, let's give a hearty thank you to our incredible gala committee who worked so hard to plan and organize this event. I think you will agree that they made this event very special. And I want to single out, of course, our gala chair, Brenda Tansman, and the committee members, Linda Diamond, Bonnie Friedenreich, Marlene Herman, and Linda Schmidt. I'd also like to thank Bonnie and Linda Tondow for preparing the ad journal, Len Kordakovsky for doing the invitation, Phil Goldwasser, who's working hard right now on tech support, Marcia Goldwasser for directory and jewels, Dan Schifrin for videos that you'll see shortly, Marty Golden, the photographer, Joanne Rosenberg, who assisted with preparing the bios of the honorees, and Stephen Herman, who helped with the videos. Also a shout out for classical caterers who provided the pashnash platters that many of you are enjoying right now, and also Sweets to Nuts that supplied candy. Of course, we must also thank our wonderful temple staff who worked hard in this event literally for months, specifically Beth Spur, Diane Kuritz, and of course our temple executive director, Linda Tondow. A hearty thank you also goes to all the vendors who placed ads in the ad journal. Please use the services of those vendors who supported us whenever possible. Another thank you goes to the Sisterhood, who recently submitted their second $5,000 check, completing their $10,000 pledge for the year that, of course, supports the temple's fundraising efforts. Of course, but certainly not least, we must deeply thank all temple members and all relatives and friends of the honorees who are participating tonight and of course placed ads. With your generous support, I'm happy to announce that we vastly exceeded our financial goals for this evening. And now one reminder before we proceed, I think you're all familiar now with the chat function on Zoom. Feel free to send messages of support and an honor to the honorees as we go through this event. The event will be recorded and they'll have an opportunity to look at it either now or later. So now enjoy this fast-paced program, but please pay careful attention because there will be a quiz at the end. Now, seriously, please enjoy. There will be a l'chaim at the end of the program. And now let me turn things over to the rabbi and spiritual leader of our congregation, Rabbi Elliot Malamet.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you so much to our amazing committee who put this together. You did an amazing job. We have to remember also that today is the 77th anniversary of D-Day, a day that changed history. Let us remember the sacrifice of that day, without which we would not be able to be free. Friends, it's been noted many times that the book of Bamidbar is a book about the Levites. And it just so happens that we have two Levitical families that we're honoring today. Twice the Torah says, Kach et haLevim, take the Levites. The first time, it's to have them as substitutes for the firstborn. Kach et haLevim, tachat kol bechor b'bnei Yisrael. The second time, it says, Kach et haLevim mitoch b'nei Yisrael, which means take the Levites as representatives of the Israelites as God's servants. The Levites are given the privilege to serve the Jewish people because they did not join in the worship of the golden calf. That privilege became a great responsibility. Ish kefi avodato, everyone according to their ability, their talent, their unique ability to serve others. We chose two extraordinary families to be honored this year because of their unique talents and characteristics, their unique abilities to serve others, and because of the tremendous responsibilities they have taken upon themselves throughout their lives. Even though they are defined by their Levitical heritage, which they got from their fathers and fathers-in-law, they are defined all the more so, called B'chomer, by their mimetical heritage, which they got through their mothers and mothers-in-law, Lila and Ehrlich. What is a mimetical heritage? Mimetic means to resemble, to imitate. A mimetical heritage is the heritage of following in the steps of. It is the heritage of imitation, resemblance. It is the heritage that inspires you to live up to a great example and to a wonderful role model. A Levitical heritage is a heritage of privilege and responsibility. A mimetical heritage is a heritage of emulation and imitation. The truth is, and I'm sure Rachel and Jonathan and Hillary and Carey would agree, it would have been a dayenu to honor Ellie and Lila alone without you. But because there is a story here, the six of you are being honored together. Because while the patriarchs of your family gave you status and privilege, your matriarchs gave you mentorship and an example to follow. While each of the four of you became doers and givers in your own right, your mothers and mother-in-law were your role models. That's the story. L'dor v'dor. This is a generational celebration. We will say more about you later. For now, let us say Mazal Tov. Your story inspires us all. May all of you continue to serve as our role models in health and happiness, midor lidor, from generation to generation. Mazal Tov.
The coolest grandmother ever!
Rabbi, you're muted.
I am not muted. Okay. We got Yosefa coming up? Or no, I'm speaking. Okay, here we go. For close to a biblical generation, a transformative. What's that? I'm still muted. Okay. So I'm not. How are we now? I'm okay. Can everyone hear me? It's unmuted. We can hear you. Okay, here we go. For close to a biblical generation, that would be 40 years, a transformative time. Jonathan, you have read the Torah in our shul. Everyone who hears you read says that you are the best Torah reader that they've ever heard. Your reading is a form of interpretation. You give honor to the Masoretic tradition every week as you distinguish the various trope markers that highlight the rare ones, the Shalshelets, the Karnei Paras, the Yerach Ben Yomos, and the Merchak Fulaz, one of which we had this past Shabbat. You have been a teacher and a mentor, an organizer, and a participant. And you are our Shaliach Mitzvah. And Rachel, you have been a guiding force in our sisterhood. Programmatically and organizationally, you have shaped the sisterhood experience and given it soul. Your heritage as a child of Greek and Italian survivors of the Holocaust links us with one of the proudest communities of the diaspora. And whenever we taste your salads or Shabbat dishes, we know that they originate from a deep culinary tradition and love of Judaism. What Jonathan is to Torah trope, you are to spices. And while so many chefs are in the kitchen for our dinners, during normal times, your presence makes it all the more special. But in our admiration for both of you, I know that you would like the spotlight to shine most on Ellie. Ellie, you are a role model, not only for your family, your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, you are a role model for all of us. You have your own unique attributes. Feisty, occasionally combative, opinionated, an understatement, but totally engaged. People marvel at your family. You never get at your ability, and also your family. You never get tired. You're always at Minyan, at every class, every program. This is the center of your life. The shul is your second home. Your history as an educator is remarkable. Your biography as a Jew, even more so. Your presence in your family is beloved. Your place in our community is cherished. You are precious to us, and you remind us every day about the power of curiosity, the love of learning, the blessing of wisdom, and the passion for life. Our recognition of you, Jonathan and Rachel, today is not only about your various roles in our shul life, all of you, it's about you as people, your role, your family, and how you radiate a spirit of devotion and commitment to Jewish life, to Klal Yisrael, to Israel, and to our community. You give us music in cantillation and in chorus, and you give us joy, and you give us wisdom. You give us a picture of the blessings of a life anchored by Shabbat, community, and peoplehood. In giving you this honor, we are saying thank you for everything, for reading for us, Jonathan, for serving us, Rachel, for inspiring us, Ellie, this and future generations. May God bless you and watch over you. May God grant you health and vigor. And may God give you the ability to lead us, to serve us, and to continue to inspire us. Midor Lidor. Amen. Come on up. You can do that. Come here. Ellie. This says, Hod v'hadar palo v'tzikato meret la'ad, on behalf of the temple. So Jonathan and Rachel, it's beautiful. Hi. Hold it up for everybody so they can see you. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Josh, Yosef, Yosefa. Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. So Josh and I would just like to say a few words about our parents and grandmother. So my parents and my grandmother are so dedicated to this shul and to this community that when the shul itself stopped functioning as a gathering space last year, they became the shul. They began hosting people in their backyard, leading services, reading Torah, sharing words of Torah, and even providing a light kiddush of potato chips and bottled water. Their dedication to HPCTC goes back almost 40 years to when they moved to town as Rutgers graduate students, starting a family. Dad inquired about teaching for the Hebrew school and instead became and still is the weekly Torah reader. When we were kids, we would walk the mile to synagogue together from South Edison every week, all through the winter, often with Dad recounting the plots of old movies to keep us entertained along the way.
We always sat towards the front, a habit I still cling to whenever I enter a classroom or look for seats at a theater.
Over the years at Shul, Mom contributed her time and talent as a chef for sisterhood events, bringing her signature Mediterranean-style culinary improvisation. And our glamorous grandma, naturally, became one of the models for the annual sisterhood fashion show. Perhaps her greatest moment of sartorial splendor was when she and our grandpa, of blessed memory, earned the prize for best couples costume at the Purim party. They wore white shirts, each adorned by a single shape cut out of black construction paper, a square for him and a circle for her. They dressed up as modern art.
Shul, and Judaism in general, means different things to different people. From each of the three Ehrlich/Modiano honorees, I have picked up little bits of what it means to be a Jew and to be a person. From my mother, I have learned to value Jewish continuity across generations and the psychological insights abundant from the stories of the Torah. Her Divrei Torah, including the one she gave at Yom Kippur Mincha just last year about boundaries within relationships, are always thoughtful and tight, a model from which many a writer and rabbi could learn. From my father, I've learned to value personal devotion and study, the beauty of biblical Hebrew, and the power of the chanted word. I've also learned how to take interest in the lives of fellow community members, celebrating and commiserating with them, but never chatting idly about them. As my grandmother likes to say, your father is no fun to gossip with. And from my grandmother, I've learned that one can be strong and independent and still experience immense joy in communal gathering. She continues to demonstrate how important it is to learn something new every day, and she exemplifies poise and confidence in her public speaking, something I am trying to emulate right now. Okay. They've all taught us about giving back to and being present for one's community, about connecting to roots and making time for family and space for friends. But even more than that, we've learned that critical thinking and religious commitment can coexist. When we were kids, not every piece of art made it onto the fridge, but those that did were all the more special because of it. We learned that lively debate and a healthy bit of skepticism were encouraged, and to approach everything with this attitude of repeat, and persist and edit and make things better. And so too in their attitude towards shul, that it's really about just showing up and doing your part, finding solace in the steadiness and finding connection with others and the divine, as well as new connections within oneself.
They are extraordinary and ordinary all at the same time. Good people who take care of themselves, their family, their community, and their planet. They compost, they donate to charity, and they sing and dance and celebrate like nobody else I know, with a sense of good cheer towards one another and the world at large. We love them and are so proud of them. Thank you, Mom, Dad, and Grandma, for giving us such a wonderful reason to kvel.
Mazal
tov.
And now, to those who gave us life, we ask, we pray, and we affirm. Ani shoel umitpalel, tov shelo avda otati chai, 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 כן אני עוד חי, זה השיר שסבא שר פה לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי, 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 עם ישראל חי, זה השיר שסבא שר פה לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי, 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 אני עוד חי, חי, חי.
Yes. Let's welcome Ehrlich to respond.
One minute.
Go ahead here. Right here.
Okay. I've been delegated to respond to this wonderful, wonderful evening. And first of all, I must say thank you. Thank you for letting us share this with the Glass family, because it is a privilege and an honor to be in the same group with all of you and to celebrate our commitment to Highland Park Conservative Temple Congregation. I know that my feelings for all of you here and all of you on Zoom and wherever we are tonight know how serious I am about the importance of this synagogue to me and to my family. It is an honor to be here. It is an honor to be part of this congregation. And I bless all of the people, this wonderful committee who made this gala so sumptuous, so elegant, and so wonderful that we can be together even on this Zoom thing. So thank you again for everything.
Mom, Dad, Grandma, Hillary, Carey, and Lila, Mazal Tov to all of you. We are so happy to be celebrating all that you do for our community. So this song goes out to you and to the entire congregation at HPCTC.
Take me back to shul and let me pray with my kahal, my friends and my community. I long to see them all. In other words, shake my hand. In other words, darling, hug me.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. Shul is all I long for, where I worship and read Torah. All through this time, we've been true. HBCTC, we're coming home to you.
let me sing forevermore. Shul is all I long for, where I worship and read Torah. All through this time, we've been true. HBCTC, HBCTC. Highland Park Conservative Temple and Center Dash Congregation Anshe Emet. We love you. Mazal tov.
Mazal tov.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's a great pleasure to honor Lila, Carey, and Hillary. Carey, in your life outside of shul, you put people back together. With an arm or a leg, you give your patients the ability to walk or to move, and you give them dignity. You've come to morning minyan before heading out, and to evening minyan after a whole day on the road. Board meetings, religious committee meetings, you've helped guide the shul through every major challenge. But every Shabbat, every Yontiv, you're on the bima in one way or another, as a davener, as a gabbai, as a laner, and as a leader. You've helped keep our shul together because you honor everyone. Your skills and your knowledge have given you tremendous privilege and responsibility. I count on you for every service. And you have been a great confidant to me, helping me as we walk to and from shul on Benner Street. And nobody understands your commitment more than Hillary. She has always honored the hours and hours that you spend at meetings, only to match you in her hours and hours of devotion behind the scenes. We can now let out the truth that Hillary was the single most instrumental person in the painstaking mitzvah of organizing Shabbat meals and Shiva meals and Hachnasat Orchim for years, and in other acts of chesed too many to list. You are what makes this community a caring community. You are a Ba'alat Chesed. You give honor to our departed members by having helped to record their names in our sanctuary and in our hearts, a real act of Chesed Shel Emet. And for your family and for your children and grandchildren, you are also a role model and a mentor in your own right. But the two of you are simply a reflection and a continuation of the greatest role model of your lives, Lila. Lila Frost. You are an icon of Women's League. In your heyday, you were constantly guiding its mission and worked tirelessly on so many committees, all the way up to national leadership. For us, you are the Women's League Hall of Fame. But for us, you have also been someone to turn to for wisdom, for mentorship, for inspiration, for a smile, for a laugh, and for a delicious piece of teglach. Your gratitude knows no bounds, and your discreet generosity and kindness leaves us in awe. You are a force, and you are guided by a love of learning, a love of family, a love of Jewish life, and a love of Jewish peoplehood. Your family is a source of nachas to you, but you are a source of nachas to us. We honor you with this award as a token of gratitude for everything all of you do and all of you represent for us. You strengthen our community. You help make it great. May God always be gracious to you. May God grant you health and vigor and the joy of knowing that you mean so much to us. Midor Lidor. Mazal tov. First, Yona and Shem. Yona and Shem.
Hello. Usually when I'm on Zoom, I'm talking to 6-year-olds, so this is different. When my sister and I were asked to speak about our parents and grandmother, we were told to share something you may not know about our family. Well, our family has been a part of this community for our entire lives, so I'm pretty sure there isn't much you don't already know. However, one thing you may know and is still worth highlighting is that L'Dor Vador, the passing on of Jewish traditions from generation to generation, is very important to our parents and grandparents. Tegelach Sunday in our family is a quintessential example of that. My grandmother started making her grandmother's tegelach recipe for Rosh Hashanah. I don't even know how long ago. As children, we would go every year to her house before Rosh Hashanah to make tegelach with her. She would share the tegelach with friends and family across the country. When our grandmother moved to Highland Park, we continued the tradition of Tegelach Sunday. As we got older, our mother hosted Tegelach Sunday in her home with all of the local grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And this year, we even held it over Zoom, a Zoom Tegelach Sunday, continuing our family tradition of welcoming in the new year together. The emphasis on passing on Jewish traditions was matched by the great personal sacrifices made by our parents to enable my sister and me to receive an excellent Jewish and secular education. In fact, while discussing this tribute to our parents, My sister shared with me a piece of information even I never knew. Each year, near the end of the summer, we would spend a long weekend in Wildwood, New Jersey. I have great memories of jumping waves with my father, building sandcastles, or watching my father build sandcastles, because I never did it right, drinking beach juice, and eating Cape Cod potato chips, which I only recently learned you can buy outside of Cape Cod. I recently learned that these understated and simple vacations were an effort by my parents to afford a Jewish day school education that they wanted for us. Dedication to education stems back to our grandparents as well. One of the greatest gifts in the world is an education. And you may not know, but our Gram, AKA Grandma Lila, Mrs. Frost, or Lila Frost, has been a lifelong student. She completed her college degree after having her 3 children and has not stopped taking classes since. She'll be happy to speak in Yiddish with you at any time she has learned in the past few years. Our grandmother wanted all her grandchildren to be able to continue studying, so she set aside tuition for graduate school for each of us. She set a powerful model for the rest of us on the importance of investing in future Jewish generations. As we say in Birkat HaMazon, race after meals, Arachaman hu yivarech et avi mori ve'et imi morati ve'et hasavta shali otam ve'et beitam ve'et zaram ve'et kol asher lahem. Merciful One, blessed be He, bless my father, my teacher, my mother, my teachers, and my grandmother, them, their household, their family, and everything they have. Despite not wanting public recognition, Becca, Yehuda, and I know that you, Mommy, Daddy, and Grandma, are extremely deserving of this honor. You have all dedicated yourselves to passing down your love of Judaism to our family and community. And for that, we wish you and the Ehrlichs a huge Mazal tov and thank you. That's 10,000 education points. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow, especially when I look for the first time into the screen and all I can think of is romper, bumper, stumper, boo. But it's not romper. I'm Sharon Glass, daughter of Lila Frost, speaking on behalf of my brother Michael and my sister Hillary. Before I begin, I would like to thank Rabbi Malamet and the members of the Conservative Congregation on Shannon for honoring my mother, my sister, and my brother, who's my brother-in-law, this evening. It isn't every organization, it really isn't every organization that values the hard work, unparalleled dedication, and deep commitment of its members. We, the 3 of us, thank you most sincerely. Mom has been an active member of every synagogue that she's ever belonged to. A force to be reckoned with, you might say. She's worked for Sisterhood Women's League and the synagogue. Mom makes waves quietly and not so quietly, as needed, for the sake of the institution. She started her involvement in the Jewish Center of Kew Gardens Hills by rewriting songs and parodies that would put Alan Sherman and Weird Al Yankovic to shame. As a person with a voracious appetite for knowledge, she created a strong foundation, as you've heard, for our family and Jewish family living. Not only did Mom make sure that all of her children, the boys and the girls, had a Jewish education, but she continued on her own Jewish journey by celebrating becoming a Bat Torah here in Highland Park. She continues to model lifelong learning to her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren by learning Yiddish, attending the rabbi's class, and even learning Braille. Mom has taught all of us to never give up. No matter what life throws us along the way. One definition of the word mensch is a person who recognizes a need and takes care of it without being asked, whether providing candy for children at Simchat Torah, hosting an open house, and feeding the unaffiliated on Rosh Hashanah to give them a sense of family and belonging, inspiring her family to keep traditions such as Teglach Sunday, or conspiring to have women reach their Jewish potential and maintain their place in the synagogue. Mom is a leader and a mensch. If we called Mom a woman of valor, an Eshet Chayil, she'd likely roll her eyes and offer a few choice words. But I'll point out that there is an Israeli TV program and later movie called Eshet Chayil. It was the American TV series and movie Wonder Woman. Now that she might agree with. We love you, Mom.
Let me ask you to come forward. We'll give you the beautiful gifts here. Lila, come over.
I would like to say
You're
one,
absolutely.
as I'm sitting here, can you hear me?
Good, close here. Go ahead.
Thank you. I can't let tonight pass without thinking that on June 6, 1944, my husband was on the beaches of Normandy. And one of his best friends was in the boats that ferried him from the ship to the shore. And it was only over a Shabbos dinner, many years after we met, that the two men actually said, I was there. And thank you, God, they survived and went on to live good lives. But as we break the glass at a wedding, we have to remember those who've gone before and sacrificed for all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Lila, this is for you. I'm gonna hold it.
That's good.
Carey, Hillary, this is for you. These beautiful gifts in honor of this day. Hod Badar Pulatov Tzikato Meret Laad. Tishtalili Avati Shetalduni Bibari. As my ancestor planted for me, so I plant for my children. Mazal Tov, Mazal Tov.
Thank you. Carey.
Thank you, Rabbi Malaman. And Mazel Tov to the Ehrlich Modiano family. Hillary, my mother-in-law, Lila Frost, and I want to thank you and the committee for choosing to honor us. In keeping with the theme of L'Dor V'Dor, we must express our sincere thanks and appreciation to our grandparents, great-grandparents, and parents, who were our teachers and mentors. They taught us the importance of Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim from Pirkei Avot, live by the rules of Torah, work for the community, and do deeds of loving kindness. My mother-in-law, as has been mentioned, one day went to a Jewish conference that was sponsored by the arms of the conservative movement. Many years ago, there she met Rabbi Hilsenrath, Zichron Levracha. When we were looking to move to a Jewish community here in Jersey, a cousin from Fair Lawn told her that Rabbi Hilsenrath from Highland Park had a reputation for bringing young people into the synagogue. Then on moving day to our apartment, which we had just gotten in Edison, Mom saw the sign and it said Highland Park and told us, you have to move there. Hillary hadn't even seen our apartment yet. The first time I came to shul, the rabbi welcomed me when they were walking around with the Torah. I skipped a week. And the next week, walking around with the Torah, Rabbi Hosenrath asked, "Where have you been?" I was missed. I was hooked. So 1 year later, we moved to South First Avenue in Highland Park. Hillary came from a shul where babies had to be quiet as she stayed home with Rebecca. After a few weeks, Mr. Joseph Zalzman, Zichron Revacha, tried to fix me up. Then Hillary and Rebecca began to come to shul and went to Mrs. Herman's class. Before we knew it, we were part of a group of very young couples who made the shul like their second home. Rabbi Hosenrath encouraged me to read Torah during the summer and Haftorah all year long. The next thing I knew, I was on the religious committee. A few weeks later, I was asked if I could go camping, and before I knew it, I was the assistant scoutmaster for the Shomer Shabbat Boy Scout troop led by Sheldon Friedenreich, which I enjoyed very much. Hillary has been involved with the blood drive, delivering Shalach Manot, the Chesed committee, doing the Artside plaques, and other functions within the temple. Projects and activities at the shul turned into family affairs, with everyone chipping in for the success of one function or another. As our children were bat mitzvahed, we continued our participation in the shul. We want to thank Rachel and Jonathan for bringing Ellie and Alvin Zichron Havracha to Highland Park. After that, Hillary spoke to Mark Goldring, and they actively worked on a campaign to bring Mark's mother, Florence Belfer, Zichron Havracha, and my mother-in-law to live here. Success was all around. We come from families that were actively involved in their synagogues. Hillary's father, Arnold Frost, was the chairman of the Hebrew School at the Jewish Center of Kew Garden Hills and the chairman of their bazaar. While in New York, Mom rose from sisterhood and branch president to officer of major committees, chairs of the Women's League Conservative Judaism. Once here, she attended classes, sat in on sisterhood region boards, and was part of the Highland Park Conservative Temple Bat Mitzvah class of 1999. In the community, she became the president of the Lafayette condominium where she once lived and currently serves on the Council of Aging for the Borough of Highland Park. Hillary remembers going to shul with her grandfather at Fairlawn Jewish Center, where her grandmother was the Kiddush lady. Lila's grandmother always supplied the candy for Simchat Torah and donated barrels of oil for the heating system for the shul. My grandparents and parents were active in their shul, Hadassah and Israel Barnes, and while always making sure that the shul had cake for Kiddush. It is with great pride that we acknowledge our siblings, our children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, who are the pillars of their Jewish communities, and know that Jewish life is central to theirs. This legacy is one we honor today. The Highland Park Conservative Temple Congregation Anshe Emet is a very special place and a unique congregation, and we're very fortunate to have found it. Some people can give many hours of their time, and some a few, but it is all appreciated. On behalf of all the three of us, Lila Frost, Hillary Glass, and I want to thank you again for this great honor.
Awesome.
Try that again. Hello, everyone, again. I'm sure you've all enjoyed this presentation tonight and have learned so much about the two families being honored tonight and fully understand why they were chosen to be honored this evening. And wasn't it great also to have them share with us family members who provided such insight into the families. At this point, it's my honor to introduce the cantor of the Highland Park Conservative Temple Congregation, Anshe Emet, Michael Weiss, for the L'chaim.
I want to thank you for honoring me with the be able to offer the L'chaim for people who have been such an incredible force, not just for the synagogue, but in my life and in the life of my family. Ellie, Rachel, and Jonathan, you were there the very first weekend that I came to visit the temple. I stayed in your home, and you welcomed me and eventually my family when they came along. always with open arms. We've shared numerous meals together, and Jonathan, obviously a great love of Torah reading and the intricacies thereof, and it's really a constant inspiration. Lila, Hillary, and Carey, just always a joy to see you in shul. Carey, we've gone back and forth, walking to shul each way, and shared lots of fantastic conversations, and you've been a mentor and advisor to me, and I am grateful to that. And we've also exchanged plenty of recipes in our time. So with that, I hope you all, you can't see it, it's blurry, but I hope you all have your glasses ready. L'chaim. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov.
Simen tov, mazel tov.
Mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yelanu, 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 olechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, olechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, olechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, olechol Yisrael. Mazel tov, mazel tov,
Simen tov, mazel tov, simen
Right. Also, we have. I just wanted to get people, everyone in a more festive mood than we've already been put into. I want to share one more simple nigun. Please, actually, it might be easier if you keep yourselves muted to be able to join in, and that way everybody can hear and you can harmonize. There we go. Okay. Am I still muted? Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay, because it says I'm muted. All right.
You're fine. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Beautiful performance.
Have about 8 minutes. I guess everybody could kind of interact, because at 8:15, we'll be turning this into our Mincha Mariv service. And I guarantee we're going to have a minyan tonight.
Cool.
Again, thank you again to the Gala Committee, everyone who participated. Everyone did a great job.
Very well done.
And special shout out to Phil Gowasser, who really pulled this off, the technology behind this.
Way to
This
go,
was not
Phil.
easy.
Yay!
And Dan
way to go.
Schifrin, thank you for the videos, and to the families, to everyone. And Mazel Tov.
Yes.
Okay, you can go into breakout rooms now.
Breakout room.
So, are we doing
You
that?
are.
Okay.
Is that it?
We are not doing the breakout
Do the
rooms.
breakout.
We're not doing
the
the,
breakout rooms, but everybody has 7 or 8 minutes to hear that they could say Mazel Tov. And we will be shutting this down at 7:15 and then starting at 8:15 and then starting up the Minion Zoom on the regular channel.
Okay, got it.
You can
You want to
leave.
leave? 15, we're going back to the regular channel.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
No problem.
On me, you
Mazel
know.
tov.
Mazel tov to all the honorees.
I will do it on.
Okay, I'm responsible for this is the court computer. Okay. Who's this? Oh, Linda Schmidtman.
Linda's at the temple.
Okay. Yes,
I'm alone here in the house.
hi, Phil.
How you doing?
Very well, and you?
Very nice
It
program.
was a lovely, lovely simcha,
Yeah.
lovely evening. And well-deserved honorees. Are we the only one on now?
I don't know how that happened.
You are not alone.
Okay, good.
Thanks for
Still
putting us
65.
on. Hi, Pete.
Mazel tov to everybody.
How was your food?
Yes.